Hello folks, this is Aditya from InspiredRise.com and today we have the Xiaomi's Mi 4i and the LeEco La1s smartphone here with us for a full comparison review between both of them. So guys, without wasting much time, let's begin. Talking about what's under the hood, so the Mi 4i comes with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 octa-core chipset clocked in at 1.65 GHz, and the LeEco La1s comes with the MediaTek Helio X10 chipset clocked in at around 2.16 GHz. It is also an octa-core processor and is significantly better when it comes to overall clock speed and overall performance when compared to the Mi 4i. And apart from this, both of these smartphones have a full HD display, 1080p display. We have set the brightness on the Mi 4i a little bit low, so let's just push this up to the maximum so as to make it comparable to this one. So as is visible, the saturation on both of these displays is good, and the LE1S has a 5.5-inch Full HD display while the Mi 4i on the other hand has a 5-inch Full HD display. So in terms of pixel density, the Mi 4i does have a higher pixel density, but in terms of overall saturation and brightness of the display, the LE1S is definitely a very bright smartphone. And in terms of RAM capacity, the LE1S has 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of internal storage, while the Mi 4i only has around 2 GB of RAM and around 16 GB of internal storage. So that makes for a decent combination in terms of what you get inside the LE1S. And talking about the system, both of them run Android Lollipop, and while the LeEco La1s runs the EUI 5.5, the Mi 4i runs on Xiaomi's MIUI 7. So in terms of stability, the MIUI 7 is definitely more stable and more feature rich when compared to the EUI, but still overall both of these smartphones are great. When it comes to battery, the Mi 4i comes with a slightly bigger 3000 mAh plus battery, while the La1s comes with a 3000 mAh battery. So both of them are good in terms of usage. The Mi 4i does last a little bit more in terms of battery life when compared to the La1s. And in terms of heating, both of these smartphones heat up to quite some degree, but the Mi 4i always is a little bit more heated up when compared to the La1s. This is also because of the fact that the La1s has a metal body which dissipates heat more rapidly. And talking about design and looks, so you can see that it's easily visible that the La1s has a premium metallic finish, so it definitely feels better in hand, and it also has a fingerprint sensor which is lacking on the Mi 4i. In terms of sound output, both of these devices are great, but the Mi 4i tends to have a little bit higher volume than the La1s, but La1s has a very nice speaker position. And in terms of IO ports also, the Mi 4i comes with a normal micro USB port, while the La1s comes with a USB Type-C port. So in terms of widespread support, the Mi 4i does have widespread support in that. And when you look at the top, the Mi 4i is definitely a more compact device. It's a little bit heavier when compared to the La1s. The Mi 4i is a little bit heavier when compared to the La1s, and so that can also be attributed to the fact that it does have a little bit higher capacity battery, and it feels more compact in hand. So that's one point. In terms of looks, you can give all of the points to the Mi 4i, and you can also give all of the points to the LeEco La1s because of the fact that looks on this smartphone are really great. So in terms of overall design, we can say that the La1s wins. It has a very nice premium metallic design, while the Mi 4i does not have that. In terms of expandable storage, both of these smartphones do not feature expandable storage, so that's a very bad thing. Now let's talk about the camera quality. The back camera on both of these is 13 megapixel, while that on the La1s comes with the face detection autofocus. And in terms of clarity, both of them are great. The front camera of the La1s is definitely a little bit better than that on the Mi 4i, though software optimization makes the Mi 4i's camera a little bit more better. Let's see the camera samples. So guys, it's time to compare the camera shots that we took from both of these smartphones. So let's just first compare the normal image. So this is a normal image taken from both of the cameras, and as is visible right now, the color of the wall is a little bit dull on the Mi 4i without the HDR mode turned on, and it feels very photorealistic on the La1s. It actually feels a very high level of detail on the La1s. It feels really great. and the color saturation etc is really excellent. But when we turned the HDR mode on the Mi 4i, the results were a little bit better when compared to the previous photograph, and little bit not just a little bit, it were a lot better. Even the reflection of the sky in the background is visible very clearly. And when we compare it to this one, so when we compare both of them, so the Mi 4i one looks a little bit better. You can easily see all of the detail there, and the sky, bluish sky, is visible in the background. So in terms of having a lot of camera options, the Mi 4i does win over here. But in terms of just taking out your camera and just clicking a picture, the La One S is definitely better. When it comes to taking selfies, you can see there is an obvious color difference, as the La One S tends to make the photos a little bit more towards the warmer side. My face feels a little bit more towards the warmer side on the La One S, and on the Mi 4i it's somewhat closer to my actual color, but actual color is not like the La One S or like the Mi 4i. My actual color is somewhere between both of these. This is making me look like a jaundiced guy, and this is making me look like a too happy guy. So that's not the case here. And in terms of overall clarity and sharpness, then the sharpness on the La One S is definitely more, and we can't say a definite winner for this one for the selfie camera. If you want really sharp images, then the La One S is definitely the one for you. But if you want color accurate images, then the Mi 4i is definitely a little bit better. So this is an image that we captured using both the cameras, and this time we had turned the HDR mode off. So it's also because of the display. On the La One S display, the images do look a lot better when compared to the Mi 4i's display. So the display on La One S is definitely better. Images look very crisp and saturated, and image was very crisp and saturated. So the primary camera of the La One S is definitely one step ahead of the Mi 4i. But when we turned the HDR mode on and took a picture, then we found out that the Mi 4i could salvage more detail and could bring in more options on the camera. So it's a very hit and miss thing when compared to both of them. Both of the cameras are good in their own way, but if you really want to take a pic, the La One S is definitely better in terms of the primary camera. But if you care about selfies, then the Mi 4i is the smartphone for you. Now let's just talk about the audio quality on both of these phones. So we will first play this song on the La One S. The speaker is on the bottom side, one of the grills is for the speaker, and even when you keep it on a flat surface, the sound won't get muffled. So the sound is coming from here, and let's just test this on the Mi 4i and see how much better the sound or how much bad the sound is. Even when kept on a flat surface, the sound does not get that much muffled up because of the fact that the Mi 4i does have a small protrusion here. In terms of having an animated sound quality, the Mi 4i does feel a little bit more bassy when compared to the La One S. The La One S does not have that much bass. And let's just move forward. So it's all a matter of preference. In case you want a speaker which is just below your smartphone, then the La One S is definitely better. But in case you want a little bit louder and a speaker which has a little bit more bass, then the Mi 4i is definitely the phone for you. In terms of benchmark performance and overall general performance, the La One S surely beats the Mi 4i out of the water, and it's definitely a more powerful phone when compared to the Xiaomi's Mi 4i. And it also has 3GB of RAM, which is better for multitasking in heavy applications, and we could run almost every game on the La One S without any lag whatsoever. The same can't be said for the Mi 4i without turning the performance mode on, which causes the smartphone to heat up a lot. So guys, it all boils down to the final question: should you buy the Mi 4i or should you buy the La One S? So the Mi 4i retails for a price of around 10,500 or so right now, and the La One S is for a price of around 11,000 right now. The Mi 4i is readily available but has a lesser storage, and a lot of options on the Mi 4i are definitely lesser when compared to the LeEco La One S, which is definitely a more powerful and better smartphone at this price range. And in case you are looking to buy a new smartphone and want a really great performance, then you should go for the La One S. The only reason justifiable for the Mi 4i would be the somewhat better camera in some aspects and a small compact form factor when compared to the La One S, which is definitely a lot bigger. So in case someone wants a 5-inch smartphone which feels a little compact in hand, then the Mi 4i is the one that they should go for. But in almost all of the cases, the La 1s is the definite winner. So guys, this was all for our comparison review between both of these smartphones. In case you liked this video, then don't forget to hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. This is Ayatan Ajha from inspiredtorise.com signing off, folks. Stay inspired to rise.